What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. We got the Blazers Uprise live graphics. I wasn't going to set up a different scene, especially for a game where the Blazers didn't even try and televise it. But we did get a stream, Eric. You watched the entire game, and I watched parts of it. I actually was able to competently play basketball today for the first time in a month, coming off my ankle injury, so did some of that. I'm not going to talk about it, though, so if you're from Reddit, you can watch the stream. We're going to talk about this game. It's going to be a short stream, kind of laid back, because, it's preseason. You're going against the New Zealand Breakers. The Blazers played their starters, played their guys in the first half, and then didn't really do that in the second half. Scoot started the second half alongside a couple of their regular rotation guys, but that didn't really last long. And then you had some interesting players come in late, and the Blazers put it on the Breakers. It looked like the Blazers might lose this game at times during the first half, but then they covered their 20-point spread to win by a final score of 106-66. They outscored the Breakers 38-16 in the final quarter. So, good job, Blazers. Way to cover the spread. And, we get to recap some basketball, Eric. It's cool to be able to talk about a final score. It's cool to be able to say we are on a post-game show. So, how are you feeling?
Kind of a mixed bag. Most of the starters were downright awful. Do you remember that game? I forgot when it was during last season. It was somewhere towards right after our hot start, but not quite to the middle of the season, somewhere in there where Jeremy attacked the defense 4 straight possessions to start a game and traveled twice and turned the ball over all 4 times. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Wait, who was it against?
I don't remember who it was against, but there was a game where Jeremy just kept trying to dribble at the hoop, and he just kept turning the ball over, and it he didn't do it a lot, but he just did that. It was the same thing at the beginning of this game. He was probably the worst player on the court on both teams in this game. He was terrible.
Toumani Camara for starting power forward?
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but I designated myself as the Toumani Camara truther on Twitter a couple of days ago. Okay, I am the Toumani Camara truther. That is my guy. I am staking my claim. I staked my claim before he ever saw a minute as a Portland Trailblazer. And in 10 minutes, I think it was 10 minutes he played today. Let me go back to the box score. In 14 minutes today, he's 5 for 6, 2 for 3 from 3. Has 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. A steal and 2 turnovers. But, he looked good. He knocked down some shots and had a couple impressive finishes. I like Toumani Camara, and, I'm not going to sit here overreacting to one preseason game against New Zealand Breakers, but he kind of showed why I like him, if that makes sense. Really good game from him. He was maybe the most impressive, for some people at least, player given expectations coming into this game, but there's a reason why he played well in Summer League. He's a solid player. He's a solid get in that Ayton trade. He, in my opinion, was not just a throw-in. He's a guy that I see at some point in his career being a role player in the league. So it was really cool to see him play really well at the end of that game and hit some threes and have a couple impressive finishes.
If he can improve his basketball IQ and court vision and stuff, this might be the number 33 in a Blazer uniform playing tricks on me. But the dude, prior to winning 6 NBA titles, the dude reminded me of a young Scottie Pippen. I'm not even joking, dude. He plays like him. He moves like him. He was dribbling like him. I don't know. He shoots his free throws similar to Scottie. I'm not saying he's gonna be Scottie Pippen, but
people are gonna run with that comment,
right? Dude, I watched at least 15 Dayton games last year, right? Because I love Daron Sharp, not Daron Sharp, Daron Holmes.
Yeah.
I really like Kamara a lot. But I didn't see those handles or that passing ability that he was flashed tonight. And that's it's interesting if he can become that type of player. he already seemed like he had some chemistry with some of the guys he was playing with. Yeah, like, I mean, he was guarding the ball handler up the court most of the time he was in there. It was very similar game, but obviously Scotty became one of the most versatile point forwards in NBA history. So that's like not saying he's going to become that, but
I love how you make a comparison based on like movement patterns and the way he dribbled and like kind of he's a well-rounded player and people just run with it like, you think he's Scotty?
Right.
You're being too positive, Eric.
But like he would get the ball and like dribble to the hoop like it was not like, I don't know, like he just seemed like completely like confident and like comfortable doing it. Like I don't know. I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility that he becomes like a high level starter and has that bit of point forward to his game. And we know he can mix it up on defense and hustles and all that stuff, all the intangibles. But
yeah, optimistically, yeah. He's just well rounded, and that's what I said in my preseason preview video. Shout out to you guys if you guys watched that. He's a well rounded player. He can hit the 3 ball. He struggled during his college career, but he got it up to 36% in his final year at Dayton, and his form is very smooth. Like, he has a very aesthetically pleasing shot. Of course, that doesn't always translate to making threes. Victor Claver is a great example of that, if you guys remember him. But he's a guy that seems like he should be solid enough on defense. He's big, but can move his feet. Decent wingspan, right? Knock down threes, and then if he can do a little bit off the dribble, like maybe you're looking at a 3-and-D guy with some skill set, I love the pickup because it seemed like he didn't cost anything. Like, I don't know why Phoenix threw him into that trade, but I think he's going to be a piece that at some point is going to get minutes this season, whether it's because of injury or a Jeremy Grant trade, or he just flat out wins the 9th man spot in this rotation to start the season, because I think there might be a chance of that. Because Jabari Walker struggled off the bench 1 for 5. Chris Murray didn't really do anything, so he does have a chance of winning that backup power forward spot right now. He's going to be fun to watch, and you don't need guys like 9th men. You don't need guys that come in at the power forward spot and chuck up a bunch of shots and like do all this stuff off the dribble. They just have to take opportunities when they're there, and that's what I was impressed with watching like some of his summer league tape. He takes the opportunities that are there and he takes them with confidence. Like, when there's a lane, he'll drive. He's not going to try and force a ton against like defense that's in front of him. But if the ball gets swung to him and there's nobody on him, he'll attack the rim. That's kind of what you want in like a role guy. And that's why I really like that pickup, because he projects really well as a role guy. And today you saw some flashes of it. Now, it was against New Zealand. I am curious to see if he struggles against bigger, more athletic guys. Because that's the hardest thing in the NBA is like, he's no longer going to be the biggest, most athletic guy on the court, right? Like, he had a really good mix of size and athleticism at the college level, and he was able to out-jump guys a lot of times. He was able to kind of bully guys at times. It's a lot harder to do that in the NBA because guys are bigger, stronger, and quicker, faster, can jump higher. So that transition is going to be key. Like, can he still attack the way he attacks, absorb contact, and finish? I think he has a chance to, and that's going to be key for him.
Yeah. Well, 2 things. One, like, high-level NBA players didn't look that good tonight against that same New Zealand team. And 2, I've heard that this is how he's looked all training camp. Like, this is who he is. Like, he's been killing it in camp. It wasn't enough, I guess, to get that first shot at the power forward spot. That went to Jabari tonight, at least. But I've heard that he's, outside of, the obvious players, he's been the standout of all the rest of the guys in camp.
You know who we play next?
Phoenix.
The team that drafted him, then traded him. I'm going to be upset if he doesn't get that backup power forward spot going into that game. If this is how he's looked all training camp, like, I understand letting Jabari get run because he's the guy that's been there the longest, but if he's looked like this, And he's going up against his old team, which is funny because he's never played a regular season game, but he is technically going up against his old team. Let him run, man. Like, I want to see Tamani Kamara playing against like the Sear Little, you know. But Tamani Kamara is ours and Sear Little's theirs. I want to see if he can consistently put games like this together against NBA caliber teams. Because there's a battle for the backup power forward spot. I will drop a video on it, but there's basically three guys. It is Chris Murray, it's Jabari Walker, and it's Tamani Kamara. Now, maybe there's four guys if you want to count Kevin Knox, I guess, but
nah.
It's a true battle. It's a true battle, and he's going up against a guy that was drafted almost 30 picks ahead of him in Chris Murray. So, really cool to see him shine, really cool to see him look good on an NBA floor, and we had been hearing that he was looking good in training camp, so just to see it in front of us is cool.
I would say Kamara has the advantage because he's 23, but so is Chris.
Got some old rookies, man.
Yeah,
that's what Cronin was saying, right? So we got some veteran rookies that come in and they're veterans, basically.
Yeah. Outside of Kamara, I thought Repair also in the second half looked pretty decent.
I'm also a Repair truther, okay?
Yeah, he looked a lot better than he did in Summer League, which isn't surprising because, I don't know, it's... as we know from Nicholas Batum, it's not... that type of play style isn't really the greatest in Summer League sometimes. But yeah, I thought he looked a lot more comfortable and smooth out there. And him and Kamara seem to fit well together with their length on defense and then like passing to each other off cuts and things like that.
Dude, Repair just looks so freaking long.
Yeah.
Like, it really kind of stuck out to me today watching him. Like, he just looks giant. Maybe that's because we're so small, but man.
Yeah. Well, he's only like 6'6", but yeah, those long arms, man. But like when you're used to playing three guards all the time.
Yeah, true. It's like we get a 6'6" guy and he looks 6'9" because we're used to 6'3" guys at the small forward spot. But just his arms mostly. And that's why, like, defensively, he projects as a guy that could be really good. Now, he had a couple of moments where he's a little bit over-aggressive on the perimeter today. There's going to be, like, some fundamental things that he needs to clean up and technique things and, you know, executing schemes. And there's going to be a growth curve for his defense. But when you see a dude that moves the way he moves, because he moves well on both ends of the floor, but then has that sort of wingspan, is, by all accounts, a really hard worker. That's why I like the Repair pick at 43, because you're betting on physical tools. But then offensively, he has a little bit of something that maybe they can develop, because he moves decent with his dribble. He can handle the ball better than most of your raw project defensive forwards can that you draft in the second round. Right, he had a couple of nice passes though, like left-handed, offhand, off the dribble. One was a kick out. I forget who shot the three, but it was a left-handed kick out pass. The stream quality wasn't the greatest, so one was a kick out. He did have a couple of rough moments turning the ball over, but he projects more as like not somebody you give the ball to and he's gonna break down somebody and score. That's why he didn't look good in Summer League. That's why Nick Batum didn't look good in Summer League. Like, that's not their game. If he can develop into a connective piece that's like a really good defender, and knock down threes and do some stuff off the dribble, you know, I kind of just said that about Kamara, but that's really what you're looking for in drafting guys like this. The thing is, Kamara's 23. I think he's a little bit more NBA ready, but Repair's only 19. Repair's really young, so it might not happen for 2 or 3 or 4 years, but that's the type of guy you're patient with and you develop because he seems to have some court vision. He seems to be able to move decent with his dribble. He's a pretty decent ball handler for like his player archetype with where they drafted him. So if you can develop that fully and if he can truly find some success behind the 3-point arc, just shooting, catch and shoot threes, then you got a player. That's the vision with Repair.
Yeah, it's just, I think while he's developing, he had one where he tried to do some fancy dribble and like throw it kind of over his head and just threw it right out of bounds. Like you just you can't be careless like that. So keep it under control a little bit and develop that way. But yeah, I'm excited watching those two young forwards play, and if they can get going like that, and their games kind of feed off each other, that'd be fun to watch. And yeah, I don't know if it'll ever really play out during the regular season that way, but still exciting to have those two guys on the end of our bench.
Yeah. I do think just looking at this entire team, they are going to be turnover prone. That is going to be maybe the number one thing that hurts them this year. They had 23 turnovers, and it wasn't like it was just the bench guys coming in and turning over the ball a bunch. From their starters, all of whom played less than 20 minutes, there was 8 turnovers combined. Like, that's not good when you're playing half of a game. That projects as like 16 turnovers from your starters. That is not good. That's not good. And I think they had 12 at halftime. Like, Sharp had 3 turnovers in this game. Malcolm Brogdon had 3 turnovers in this game. But that's the thing, when you see a guy like Brogdon turning over the ball that much, Anthony Simons led the team with 4 turnovers. It's not necessarily just an experience, because like Malcolm Brogdon is one of the more steady guards in the league. It's a lack of chemistry, and it's a lack of guys knowing each other and maybe knowing the system, because you got a lot of new guys, and I think that's the biggest thing for preseason to try and clean up is like the execution mistakes on offense, because taking care of the ball was a major issue today.
Yeah, they were trying to lob it a lot. Yeah, wasn't really working out.
Yeah, they recently practiced lobs, so maybe they need to practice more lobs.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be something that's frustrating if you have like high hopes for this team and think they can make a play-in or maybe even make a playoffs.
Yeah.
Is they're gonna struggle. There's gonna be a lot of growing pains. I don't expect them to start hot. They don't have an easy schedule to start the year, and there's gonna be some serious growing pains with this offense. And it's gonna be something where even guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Anthony Simons, veterans, are turning over the ball more than you're accustomed to, simply because they have to develop that chemistry. And it's not like they got Ayton in July and they got Robert Williams in July, Tamati Kamara in July, where they could have played pickup over the course of September. Like, those guys are very, very new because it happened right at the end of September. Mm-hmm. So, Brogdon's another one. So there is going to be some growing pains there.
Yeah, of course. But on the flip side, the sloppiness out of the players that shouldn't have growing pains was troubling tonight. I already mentioned Jeremy Grant. Anthony didn't look very locked in. Scoot was okay. I thought Ayton played pretty well.
4 for 10 though. Not
yeah, he forced a couple shots. He thought he got fouled on a couple. The same kind of stuff that Nurk did, when he turns to the middle and feels like there's an arm on him, so he goes up. And both him and Grant just took some ridiculous. I cannot stand this, Tori. Like, it's one of my least favorite things in basketball when someone dribbles. They don't have a shot. They go to the fadeaway. It's not there. They're fading it's not even like a normal fadeaway. They're like completely going backwards, and they still shoot it anyway. That they don't pass out of it. It's like after dribbling for like 10 seconds, it's like, dude, freaking just give up the ball. It's not happening this possession, dude.
That's your 2 veterans too,
right? Yeah,
and your big guys, right? It's one thing if it's like Shane Sharp gets cut off and shoots a fadeaway, like somebody that's 6'5", 6'6", right? It's different when you got athletic bigs, your power forward and your center shoot a bunch of those shots. Like, that's going to be the other thing that kind of hurts this offense, I think, is just settling for those mid-range shots and shooting shots like that. That was the number one thing that frustrated me with Jeremy Grant last year. Like, this has been something that's frustrated me with Jeremy Grant, where he just forces some very questionable mid-range shots. And it's like, he's efficient finishing at the rim. He was very efficient from behind the three-point line. And, like, his efficiency is solid because of that, but if he just cut out some of the BS mid-range shots he shoots, then he'd be a very efficient scorer, in my opinion. So, I don't know if Chauncey's going to crack down on that at any point, but that's the thing. You're bringing Ayton. He likes shooting those shots. Scoot shoots a lot of mid-range shots. Jeremy shoots a lot of mid-range shots. Like, this is going to be a heavy mid-range shooting team.
Yeah. The thing I don't like, though, is when, like, it's good to attack, but when you like shoot that and then like the next possession you go at it again and it's not there again and you still like try to force it and you travel and stuff. It's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you don't have to force the action against a team like New Zealand. And if you have all these good offensive players and this free-flowing up-tempo ball movement offense, you especially, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, like when you see someone just going one-on-one like that in that kind of system. Well, I mean, it's one thing because like Scoot didn't shoot any mid ranges that I remember in this game. He was like getting to the rim early on. He missed a couple lands, but he was at least like getting past his guy and getting to the rim. But I don't understand like attacking when you're not creating any sort of advantage and still trying to shoot.
Yeah. Don't pay attention to what we're talking about in chat, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was curious to see what this team looked like in the half court. I expect them to get out and run. And we saw some of that today. It wasn't necessarily executed the best with some of the lobs. You know, Jabari Walker missing a dunk. So there's some rough moments in transition, but like half-court offense, when they can't get easy buckets in transition, what in the world do they look like in the half-court? Because in the past, you've just been able to get Dame the ball, and he would be able to give you 30 points per game, draw all the defense to him, and then make a pass to a wide-open teammate and get them open shots. You know, like that's the thing, is I think people are going to realize this year how having a Damian Lillard-level scorer makes it easier on other guys, because there has been the narrative that Dame doesn't make his teammates that much better, right? Like, that's one of Steven's narratives. I'll do a podcast with Steven at the end of the week. Maybe I'll bring that up on that podcast, so definitely tune in. Second channel, link in description. But Dame made things easier on players because he had so much gravity. He drew so much defense to him whenever he had the ball. Whether he was 30 feet away, whether he was driving, shoot, even when he would occasionally every once in a while post up. Like, no matter what, if Dame has the ball, he has the attention of the defense. I mean, you remember that clip in the bubble where it was Garrett Temple telling someone on the Nets, like, you got to go guard Damian Lillard. He's going to pull from half court, like, yeah. Whatever that clip, whatever he said. Yeah, that's how opposing defenses think about Dame. And without Dame, like, Scoot will be a good playmaker. Scoot will be a guy that maybe as a rookie can average like 7-8 assists. In his 19 minutes, he did have 6 assists and only 1 turnover. Like, that's pretty dang good from your point guard. But it's a little different when you have a guy like Dame who draws so much of the defensive attention that even when he doesn't have the ball, the defense is geared to stop him, not let him get the ball. Like, if he's coming off a pin down, there's going to be a lot of times where 2 defenders run with him and it opens up a backdoor cut. Like, he just has so much attention and gravity on him at all times that even just by being on the floor, he makes things easier for teammates. And that's something where hopefully Scoot can become that level of scorer where he can, draw the defense's attention, like if he's a superstar caliber player, because of course that's the hope. But it's going to take some time to get there. Right now they don't have that sort of guy. So, Scoot, when he goes downhill, can create good shots for people, and he can certainly pass the ball. Had a great left-hand kick-out pass in this game. So it's not a knock on Scoot's playmaking. It's just a little different when you have that lethal scorer that the defense is consistently paying attention to.
Yeah, I think Scoot had he had his moments, though. He can get into the middle of the key anytime he wants to. I mean, you could say competition tonight, but I mean, he's consistently proven that. And he had some great cross-court, one-handed passes to an open shooter. I really like to see that. And there was one, I don't know if he shot more than this one three-pointer. I don't remember if he shot another one or not. But they kind of sagged off him, and he did shoot a 3 and make it in the first half. So if he can just make that at a respectable rate, those 3-pointers, I think it would bode well for that, because If they have to play out on him at all, I think it's pretty much game over, and he's going to be really good. If he allows them to sag off, I still think he might struggle at times in his first couple of years.
Yeah, and it might be the case where Scoot already is a naturally better passer and playmaker for others than Dame is. Like, he might be at that point because he can really, really pass the ball. It's not the case where it's easier on the other 4 guys on the floor because he's out there compared to Dame. Like, Dame just existing on the court, for the reasons I stated, makes things easier on teammates. So that's why I'm curious to see how they play in the half court.
Yeah, I felt like it was too much like taking turns. I hate that too. When it's like, okay, oh, I'm Anthony. I haven't touched the ball because Grant just turned the ball over 3 times in a row. My turn, I'm gonna shoot, right? And then like Thibault's like, oh, I have to show that I can score too. Like, I hope it's not that kind of stuff.
It can't be. They will be terrible offensively if that's the case. They have to play together offensively.
Yeah,
just like play. They gotta cut. They gotta set off ball screens. They gotta move. That's the only way, in my opinion, they're above average offense is if they play together and they move. They move the ball. They cut. They set screens. And maybe they'll execute sets right. But as I've stated for years, in the NBA, you gotta be able to play out of freelance because it's less predictable, it's not scoutable, and especially if this is an up-tempo team, like a lot of times, if your first initial break is not there, there's second breaks, right? Or you go back to like a floor balance that's not ready to run a set, so you gotta be able to like freelance out of that. If you push the pace, don't have that initial shot, you gotta be able to play out of that. So it shouldn't be somebody pushes the pace, there's not a shot there, and then they ISO, right? It should be somebody pushes the pace, shot's not there, the guy running down the middle of the floor screens away immediately, that guy cuts to the ball, tries to turn the corner. If he doesn't get the ball, then maybe somebody else flashes the ball, you swing it, you move the defense. Like, that's how this team has to play offensively in the half court, and out of breaks. So we'll see. Like, that's going to be a sticking point all offseason, and that's a good thing for the young guys to learn how to do, because this is a developmental season. That is something that they have to learn how to do, and some of that is chemistry, so that's another reason why I expect some growing pains, is I don't expect them to do that too well, but we need to see improvement over the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the starters didn't play in the second half. Well, Scoot played for a few minutes, but I felt like the players in the second half did a much better job of moving without the ball, and it created some nice opportunities.
Yeah, you got athletic dudes on this team. Like, you can set back screens that aren't designed, right? Like, if that first fast break is in there, go set a back screen for Sharp. And if he has an opportunity at the rim, like, obviously the guy passing the ball has to make the right read. But, that's the thing is, like, out of transition, the defense is just getting set. They're less likely to see that coming than if you set up a set and it's part of something that is designed. So that's how I want this team to play. I want this team to move and be able to freelance and be able to play off each other, set screens off the ball. That needs to be a huge emphasis, right? When they're not in a set and they don't have a fast break opportunity, like if they're in the half court and they're not necessarily in a set, you got to move, you got to set screens.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple.
Yeah, hopefully that's part of the offense.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway, before we get into the rest of the post-game show, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter show, but before we get into the rest, this post-game show is sponsored by Manta Sleep Mask. They have a wide variety of sleep masks to fit your needs. A bunch of sleep aids, too. They have some blue light glasses that I've been talking about getting. I still need to buy them. They look pretty sick. They're like tinted yellow, kind of stylish. I want to roll up here after a win with some blue light glasses because A, it's healthy. It's healthy. It's good for your eyes to wear blue light glasses if you're on a screen a bunch like I am. But also I think they look good. But they also got sleep masks. So if you're in an apartment that doesn't have, good curtains, lets a lot of light in, sleep mask. If you like to meditate, this is a sound mask. Bluetooth speakers hooked up in it. Really good for midday meditation. And that's something that I advocate for. That's something that I actively practice because, I'm doing a bunch of things with work right now, and my life gets kind of hectic. So it's nice to be able to just like slow down and calm down. So Manta, great company, great sponsor. I love their products. So if you want to get yourself a sleep mask or somebody else you care about, you can use the link in the description box below and use my promo code Uprise for 10% off. It helps out the channel. It helps out us. And then also it can help out you, or it can help out somebody that you love or that you care about. Because what better gift than to show somebody you're caring about their sleep or their health. So shout out to Manta Sleep Mask for sponsoring us this season and sponsoring the stream.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Manta. And then Alan Snow says, I'm a Suns fan and we want Tamani back. LOL. Yeah, sorry, you can't have him back.
Thank you for him, though.
Yeah. Steve Dog says, I feel better about this just being a chemistry thing if our offense and defense, the zone, didn't have the same problems all last year. Yeah, I mean, once again, one game, you can't worry too much. But I did find myself in the first half thinking it's got to be the coach, right?
Yeah.
Like the coaching just is not good, and then you see at a timeout, you see like Rodney Billups and Scott Brooks and all those guys. It's like same coaching staff, same head coach. It's like, yeah, what's going on here? I really hope that's not the case. I really want this team to be well coached, but I'm still in I'll see that when I believe it mindset, much like you usually are at this time of year.
Yeah.
I'm with that with the coaching staff. They have to prove it to me before I'll start believing in them.
Yeah, the proof is on the tape. Unfortunately, we didn't get great tape today. Unfortunately, it was like a bootleg stream that somehow people get access to and throw it up on the internet, but next game will be televised. Next game, I plan on hopping over on Suns Valley Podcast because they do live watch parties during games, and that'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so I'll hop over there, and then we'll do a post-game show too, so lots of content. And then, of course, during the regular season, we're doing watch parties for every game is the plan right now. Might miss a couple, but like we're going to grind those this year. We got some fresh talent over on the second channel that'll be helping us out, so that'll be fun. Looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else stick out from this game?
Someone said they're roasting Ayton. Outside of the 4 for 10, I don't think Ayton played that bad. He looked fine to me.
Who's roasting Ayton? Suns fans? Because they're gonna roast him all season long.
Yeah, it's just like when Nurk played, people are roasting Nurk.
Yeah. Can I say this? Can we not like? I know Suns fans are gonna do this, but I don't like it. Like every time Ayton plays well, take a shot at Nurk, or Suns fans are every time Nurkic plays well, they're gonna take a shot at Ayton. Like, I don't want it to be some toxic battle between these two guys all season long, because Nurkic is now theirs and Ayton is now ours. Like, I'm sure Suns fans are going to do that, but, like, I don't want to participate in that where Ayton has a good game and it's like, see, Nurkic could never. Like, don't turn it into a negative, right? Like, Ayton plays well, that's great. Don't turn it into a negative statement about somebody else that's not even on the team. Like, we shouldn't worry about Nurkic in regards to this team. We should worry about how Ayton plays, how his team plays, and how these young dudes develop. Like, that's what matters. So, that's my request. I know it's not going to be, I know there's going to be people out there doing that, but just wanted to put that out there now.
Yeah, agreed. You missed most of the first half, so I don't know if you saw it, but they had like a fake broadcast for part of the first half.
A fake broadcast?
So it was like Calabro and Hurd and Brooke doing a broadcast, but it was like they had like the Suns logo for the breakers up there, and they had when they showed the starting lineups, it was like it said Phoenix Suns, but it had like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, like the Warriors starting lineup on there.
What?
Yeah, it was so weird.
Doesn't make sense.
And then they said like at one point they cut to footage of Chauncey Billups before the game talking about someone or something, and it was Travis Demers, like it said like Chauncey Billups, but it was Chauncey Demers, like, or Travis Demers, like talking like he was Chauncey. And
what? I'm so confused.
Like I think they were just doing a run through, like a practice like broadcast, and that's why it wasn't like filmed tonight. But like, how did we get that feed to like watch? Like, I don't know. It was so weird. And then so there's a new Corey Jez too. You know how they got rid of Corey Jez?
How?
No, they got rid of him. They, like,
they fired him.
Yeah,
they got rid of him.
Yeah, so there's some new analytics guy. It's Tom Haberstrom, and
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they bring him on as like, here's our analytics guy, Tom Haberstrom, and they're just like talking to him like he's, like.
Where have I heard that name before?
I like it sounds. Yeah, he seemed like really familiar. I think he's like he's been like an NBA reporter for a while, but
Haberstrom,
I think.
Is it?
I think it's from ESPN or I don't know.
Basketball Illuminati podcast, Tom Haberstrom, with an H on the end instead of an M.
I thought it said M in the broadcast, but
yeah, I've heard of Tom Haberstrom. Who's Tom Haberstrom?
I don't know. He seemed
sounds entertaining though.
I will say it was like he seemed a lot more comfortable on the mic from day one than Jezzer did, but
dude, I might day one be able to seem more comfortable on the mic, and I'd be nervous as hell to be on TV like that.
But yeah, it was just like it was so weird like that. There was all kinds of things. I was like cracking up because it was just like what?
Kind of bummed I missed it, man.
Yeah,
kind of bummed I missed it. But...
And then some like right before halftime, it switched to like the jumbotron feed, and then we heard occasionally like there was no sound, and then you could hear Mark Mason sometimes and nothing else, and then sometimes it was just like random like elevator music and stuff. But yeah,
should have just let us like get the feed from the main camera in the arena and stream it and do our own commentary.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been real cool. People would have loved that, but no, we don't. We screw over the fans, Eric, because Xfinity is gonna like bump up the price for Root Sports to their ultimate package. They're gonna bump it up $20. God, that pissed me. I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired of the Root Sports deal. I'm tired of it, man.
But Tori,
they
got it to where it could be in the most homes possible.
The most homes possible, but then they're gonna bump the price up $20, and let me tell you this: 99.9% of people in eastern Idaho and eastern Montana are not paying an extra $20 to watch the Portland Trailblazers. They're just not. They're not gonna do it. Like, it's basically, it just screws over the fans that care enough to do that. Right? And basically, this entire deal has screwed over the fans that care because they're not on any popular streaming platforms. They're not on YouTube TV. I don't think they're on Hulu. Right? Like, it's Fubo or bust.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. Right? Or if you have Xfinity, like, the Root Sports website sucks. Xfinity, you can't watch it outside your home. And then Xfinity's gonna bump it up. So it sucks being an Xfinity customer watching games that way. The whole deal just freaking sucks for everyone.
This is what killed the Pac-12. Like, no one could find the games, or like a lot of major services didn't carry the Pac-12 network, and like it's so stupid, man. Like, how are we in 2023 and we're still fighting this stuff where you can't just freaking watch a game from wherever you are? Like, it's so stupid.
Do you remember having a conversation like 2 years ago when they signed the Root Sports deal?
Yeah.
Or was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Like, I'm not trying to say I told anyone. It's just like back then you could tell that the future was what the Jazz are doing and what the Suns are doing.
Yep.
And I was saying that at the time, like the future is going to be streaming and just like buying games, like being able to watch a team's games. And I was sitting there imploring the Blazers, like, why can't you be ahead of the curve? Why can't you be the future? Right? Like, do it now, because at some point you're going to do it. And instead you're wasting time, like, screwing over the fans that care. Why don't you show them you care and actually do something that is going to be what the future is? Because the future is not regional sports networks. It's just not. Like, Bally is putting podcasts on TV, which is cool, I guess, but it's very low cost. Like, that's what it's devolved into. So, I'm frustrated because it seems like the Blazers are going to be behind the curve on this, and I don't expect them to keep up with other teams doing it, because I expect other teams to do it, and maybe with the new TV deal coming up in a couple years, maybe they figure it out, where every team does something different collectively. I'm not sure, but man, I would love for our team to be ahead of the curve, and it's like I'm just looking at Phoenix and I'm jealous of them because they have an owner that comes in and is willing to be aggressive, willing to spend, willing to go for it, right? The type of mindset I always wanted our organization to have, and then he's taking care of the fans. He will literally send them an antenna to catch games on cable if they don't have an antenna. Like, he's trying to make it as easily accessible for free, basically, for every Suns fan in the Phoenix area. That's so sick. And we're just sitting here getting routinely screwed by Root Sports.
Well, get this. I have Comcast, Xfinity, or whatever. And I pay, it's like $270 a month, right? And that's for cable and both internet and TV or whatever. So I'm paying that much a month. Almost every channel I watch, I can't watch outside of my house. So I'm paying $270 a month, and I can only watch like ESPN at my house, right? Like I can't even for that much, I can't even stream, and now it's going to go up even more. Like it's so freaking stupid. Like it's so
and watching on the computer, like the stream says it's in like 720p and it's like 180.
Yeah.
Or 120 or whatever it be. It's literally like looking at it looks awful. It looks terrible. So anyway, we'll see when they finally move off the Root Sports deal, but just expect to like get routinely screwed. Okay? And not in the good way. In the bad way, because it sucks. Anyway, that's my rant on Root. We're not gonna take this stream much longer. So let's just jump into, we haven't talked about this, Matisse Thybulle starting small forward. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, that's something they made very clear in the broadcast too. This isn't necessarily the starting lineup. This is just the first iteration of it. But no, I mean, not surprising at all. We knew Thybulle was going to start. I saw someone asking earlier, I think it was you, Marcus Lake, who the backup small forward is going to be. It's got to be Sharp in that situation if Thybulle's starting and we're playing Brogdon, because we're not going to just sit Scoot and Ant for half the game while Brogdon and Sharp play 1 and 2. So that's going to have to be a case where Sharp's going to have to play a majority of his minutes at the 3 if we're playing Brogdon and starting Thybulle.
He has to play it anyway, so just start him.
Right.
Like, this dude, when you gave him more responsibility, looked great. Don't now sit there and roll back that responsibility, because he did not really do anything the first half. I don't want him to be an afterthought. Like, he needs to be a part of our core, right? And we need to give him responsibility on the defensive end. We need to give him touches. We need to run things for him. And maybe they're looking at it like, oh, that's hard to do when you got Scoot and Grant and Anthony Simons and this and that. You can always stagger Sharp with the starters, take him out early. You know, it's just like he should be playing at least 30 minutes a game. And I would like to just start him and see what he looks like against starters next to Scoot and Ant, so you can make a well-informed, educated decision on the future, because the big thing is a lot of people think that 3-guard trio, right? Because Sharp's a guard, even though he has more small forward size than like Norman Powell ever did. People think that can't work long term. We'll run them out there together and find out. Even if it's likely that it can't work, get a good sample size, especially the starting games against starting lineups with those 3 in the game. So, there's an argument for Thibault to start because it's like, oh, if Sharp's playing well, he can finish and play against starters and in crunch time and this and that. I just don't like rolling back his responsibility, and I like him being in a role that like shows that he is a core part of this team. Like, not coming off the bench. I'm worried there's going to be games where he's only playing 20 minutes because Thibault's like hitting threes, so then Thibault gets 33, right? Yeah. So I know Thibault is kind of like what we need, but what is more important and what we really need is to develop our core and figure out if our young core fits long term or not. So,
well, that's like if we get off to a good start, or things are, we're hovering around 500, 20 games into the season or whatever. Fine, like, okay, keep starting it. But like, if we're one of the worst teams in the league this year and we start Thibault all season, I'm just going to be livid, man. It makes no sense if we're playing that starting lineup we played tonight without any sort of reasoning for doing so if we're losing.
Here's the thing, though. If we are 500 after 20 games, it's more likely going to be due to Shaedon Sharpe taking a step than it is because of Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like with Thybulle starting. If Sharpe starts, I don't think you don't care as much about record, right? You just care about how he's playing, and if like you said, if he's playing well, then we're probably doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's just a preseason game, so like I'm not truly feeling any type of way about it, but I am worried. Like, I do feel like they're going to start Thybulle. I am preparing myself for them to start Thybulle because it's just, I don't know. Like, maybe it's something that is so trivial, like I shouldn't care about it. You could make that argument, and maybe you're right, but I want to value Scoot and Sharpe. Like, I've been saying that for 3 months now.
Yeah. I've been saying that since we decided to choose Scoot over Dame. Rip the Band-Aid off, give as many minutes to those 3 as possible. But in Chauncey's defense, Sharpe didn't look very crisp tonight. He looked kind of like he did most of Summer League, like he was not entirely focused and sloppy with the ball. Just kind of going through the motions at times.
Still super young.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, I think maybe you can make the case if you're the coaching staff that he hasn't necessarily proven that he should be the starter yet. Maybe that's what they're waiting for, is him to just show a little bit more focus and attention to detail.
I feel like he kind of proved it at the end of last season.
Well, yeah, for sure, but like that doesn't mean that he came into camp ready to go or whatever,
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, minutes probably matters more than who starts.
Mm.
I've explained why I want him to start, beyond just the minutes, but it's like he had rookie moments, and he's going to have rookie moments this year because this is supposed to be his rookie season. Like, he didn't play a year of college basketball before his rookie season, right? He went from high school to the NBA. Like, it took Ant till his halfway through his 3rd year to take a jump. Now, you could say that Sharpe took a jump that Ant did, right? Like, at the end of last year, but that was a little bit more of a tanking team than when Ant started to take his jump, because Ant started taking his jump without Dame. So, still patience with him. Like, I'm not expecting him to light the world on fire this year, but, it was just, when he started and got responsibility last year, he looked phenomenal. He looked great. He looked like a budding star. So,
well, let me ask you this then. I mean, I think I know what your answer will be, but if Thybulle looks better than Sharpe in training camp, like that was the overarching theme of training camp, like Thybulle is just better than him during training camp, do you still start him over Thibault?
I just don't even think Stiebel's better than him.
But what if Thibault was consistently winning battles in practice?
I mean, it comes back to what's most important this season for me. That's the answer. What's most important this season?
Yeah.
And maybe you can say it's best for Sharp's development if he's only playing 18 minutes tonight off the bench when he's struggling. Like, that's a legitimate argument.
Yeah.
Like, there is an argument for Thibault to start. I'm not trying to act like there's not.
Well,
just personally, I think it's better to let him play through his mistakes unless they're effort mistakes that you have to hold accountable by benching him. Like, if it's not making the right reads, like, when you let him play through those mistakes, he looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure what to do. Like, I've just said I've been pro starting the 3 young guys, but I don't know if you can just hand any of them their position if it's not deserving, Like, I still think he's got to somewhat take the reins. And if he's anything close to what we think he can be, he shouldn't have any problems just taking that job and running with it and not letting anyone even have this conversation, right?
Yeah, unless Chauncey's sitting there like, well, we got Scoot, we got Ant, we got Grant, we got Ayton, we got enough scoring, we need a defender in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Sharp's better, we're valuing Thibault over him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that that's exactly what's happening. I'm more of the opinion that they just are going to try to be good this year and they're going to try to win, and they think Thibault in the starting lineup gets them there. But at the same time, like, I don't know if we've heard Chauncey say a lot of good things about Thibault in practice and stuff. I don't know if that's maybe just a case of they want him to get the job, much like Nas last year, but it's just like Hart's outplaying Nas. You can't just give it to Nas then. And then this year, I think maybe Thibault's just been better than him.
I mean, Thibault's shooting the 3-ball well in a Portland uniform. That happened last year, and then today 2 for 3 from 3. Like, his shot seems more confident, and it's not like his form is completely broken. Like, he seems to be an okay shooter that you can't just leave open now. But I don't know. It comes back to what's most important. There's a bunch of different opinions that you can have on the matter. Just as long as he's getting his minutes, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If there's games where he's playing 16, 17 minutes, like, it's going to be very...
and
we're losing by 15 and he's playing like 16 minutes, we're going to be frustrated.
Or that game like against Sacramento where we start Ryan Arcidiacono over him. Like, what the heck are we doing? Like,
We just needed a floor general, Eric, even though we were going to cut him 2 days later while we were trying to lose games.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that made no sense. So, anyway...
Madden Mobile says, guys, just remember how long did it take for James Harden to be a starter. That's because he was playing behind really good players, and they just wanted to have his scoring off the bench. The minute he went to another team, he was like an all-star and a star player, and was great.
If we were going to make the finals this year, I'd be completely okay with bringing Sharp off the bench.
Oh, we are going to make the finals this year.
Oh, the finals of what?
Just the finals.
The finals.
Yeah. We don't need to define it.
Yeah. We could make the finals of the NBL, it seems like. So, put the whooping on them. But, any other questions from chat? Anything else from you, Eric, before we end the stream? I'll give chat a couple minutes to give us any good questions. If not, we'll be live again on Thursday to cover that game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping some players play. I think they all sat tonight, right? Was it tonight that Phoenix played?
Yeah, I don't know what they did tonight. I'm not sure.
I want
to Denver.
I want to say Booker, Beal, and KD all didn't play.
Nurk played.
Yeah.
Nas played. Keon played.
Yeah. And
Eubanks played. So I want to, dude. If they don't play those guys, I'm gonna be slightly upset. I want to see those guys. I want to watch those guys with Gabe, with them playing for his team.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just want players to play because this game, I mean, New Zealand didn't really have any quick ball handlers to test our point of attack defense, and they certainly didn't have any shooters out there to make us pay for packing the paint or whatever. So it's not like any of the problems of our defense over the past few years were problems tonight, because they couldn't exploit any of our weaknesses on defense. So I do want to play, like you said, against a team that's actually trying, just to see what our schemes are and what we're doing differently and all that.
Yeah. Guess who was the leading scorer for the Nuggets tonight?
Julian Strawther.
Minutes. My guy, Julian Strawther.
Sorry, I already knew that.
Nah, it's fine. I didn't know if you knew. I wanted to know if you knew that I was going to give a Gonzaga guy some love. Because Chet had a great debut. Strawther had a great debut. Like, Gonzaga dudes, there's this myth out there that they struggle in the NBA. That's not true. Like, Andrew Nembhard last year was a second-round pick. Was great for a second-round pick as a rookie. Is like a part of that core now, despite him playing the same position as their best player. Like, you know, every college is going to have some guys that hit, some guys that miss. Gonzaga's been putting out pretty good pros for a while now. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
For those asking, Robert Williams didn't play just as precautionary reason. They said he's fine. There's no injury. They just decided to not play him tonight. I don't know if that's 100% true, but yeah.
Hopefully we get to see him on Tuesday.
And someone that's injury prone, you mean Thursday?
Thursday. Today's Tuesday.
Someone that's injury prone, you don't really, I mean, there's really no point in him playing preseason right now other than to get some reps with some players. So hopefully that's all it is maybe the other player will take Thursday off or something. But yeah, we didn't have our true rotation tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a wrap. We're going to have content tomorrow. I might drop a video on something, not sure yet. But there'll be 2 podcasts out tomorrow. Or at least that's the plan right now. Eric and Crushables have already recorded the second episode of Hoops Crush. That podcast will be uploaded on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Podcast. Used to be Blazers Uprise Live. Now Blazers Uprise Live is just our shows on Monday and Thursday because we got podcasts now. So stay tuned for that. They go over... What do you go over in that podcast, Eric?
This episode is all about young cores in the NBA. So find out where a person like Crushables, who does rebuilds for every team, rates the Blazers' young core and who he has as the top young cores in the NBA. And then also where I rank different cores. We had... one of, just a small tease, one of Crushable's favorite young cores was not in my top 10.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a great teaser. I'm looking forward to finding out what that team is. So, chat, post the link in the description. Go subscribe to Blazers Uprise Podcast so you don't miss that. And then also 503, a.k.a. Noah Patterson. He's 503 Blazer fans on Twitter. Big following. Has like 15,000 followers. Cool guy. He was supposed to drop the first podcast today. There was technical difficulties, so we're going to try and get that out tomorrow as well. Looking forward to that. Going to keep bringing the content all season long. So with that being said, that's a wrap. Thank you to Manta Sleep Mask for sponsoring this stream. Make sure to get yourself one. Link in the description box below. Promo code UPRISE for 10% off. And we are out of here until Thursday. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.